DFS community, and welcome into the Week 5 edition of one of the most accurate DFS shows in the industry. This is episode number 85 of the Adjusted Line Play Report, where we take a deep dive into the play in the trenches to determine game script and player outcomes. This show is presented by Zilla Fantasy Elite. I am your host, Todd Hoffman. You can find myself over on Twitter at Todzilla1337. And you can find Zilla Fantasy Elite over on Twitter at Zilla Fantasy. Now, hopefully you were playing along last week and you placed some prop bets on the ones that we had posted on Twitter. And if you did, you probably won a lot of money. We were 10 of 12 on some of these player props that we had. Actually, I think 9 of 11 on the Twitter ones, and then I didn't really share the Washington kicker over 2.5 field goals prop, but that one also hit. That was talked about during the actual show, but was not posted on Twitter. So very good success there last week on those prop bets. 100% of the lineups that I made in FanDuel hit as well. So overall, very good week for the Adjusted Line Play Report. So if you are new here, just enjoy all of this wonderful information that's coming in. We're looking at the offensive and defensive line play to see how the game might flow. We're going to look at this island game here for the London game, Minnesota-Cleveland. Then we're going to get into the main slate if you're playing any DFS. So there are 10 games on the main slate this week. We'll get into those, and then we'll head into the Sunday night and Monday night football games. So let's get into it here, folks. First one, we're going to be looking at the London game. Minnesota still up in Europe. They are facing Cleveland this week, so we have a 36.5 Vegas game total. Typically when I start seeing 40 or anything near 40, I start saying, hey, your kickers and your defenses are going to get involved in those island game matchups. So 36.5 does not look like a lot of offensive production is going to be had just based off of the Vegas game total. So keep that in the back of your mind when you're going through and creating any of your lineups this week for this island game. Getting into that, Minnesota favored by 3.5. So we got the Vegas line 3.5 point favorites there from Minnesota. That gives them a 20-point team implied total. Cleveland at 16.5. Both pretty poor there. And first thing we will do is get into the quote unquote away team here, which is Minnesota. They are dead last in offensive pass protection, taking lots of sacks. They got several key injuries along the offensive line there, and they just keep getting hurt. We'll get one back, and then another one gets hurt for them. So they are 32nd in offensive pass protection, taking lots of sacks. Cleveland number 8 in defensive pass rush, able to generate pressure. This signals to me that the Minnesota quarterback, which is Carson Wentz, will be under duress in this matchup. Not good for him. He's typically a pretty poor performer when it comes to pressure, taking lots of sacks. Not really a quarterback throughout the history who has been able to get rid of the ball, throw it out of bounds. He typically holds on to it, takes sacks, and you don't want that as an NFL team. But really looking like that's going to be the case here. If they want to combat that, they're going to need to get the ball out quicker, which is going to lead to probably more underneath passes to the running back. I know last week they were concerned about the pass rush, so they had Hawkinson in on the line to help chip with some of that because their offensive line woes. So he didn't really do anything until the fourth quarter when they let him start running some routes. So that might be a similar scenario. Just plan accordingly for any underneath routes. You're probably going to have some more targets. The running backs there, Xavier Scott has been, I think he had like 8 targets or something last week. So keep that in mind. That's always an option, but they're going to have to get the ball out quick. Carson Wentz probably going to take a lot of sacks. Cleveland defense, if you're playing island game, looking really juicy with this low Vegas total. And then pass DVOA, Minnesota 30, Cleveland 14. Big favor there for Cleveland. Wouldn't expect Minnesota to be very explosive on the pass game front. Run game, Minnesota have been very good in that department, number 6 and number 8, so they're both in the green. Unfortunately for them, Cleveland number 2 and number 2. This tells me, hey, Minnesota's not going to be able to run the ball as well as they have been used to so far this season. All being told, hey, run game is probably going to struggle a bit. Pass game looks like it's really going to struggle, taking sacks and not being very effective. This Minnesota 20-point total does not look very good. I don't see them scoring 20 offensive points based off of the matchup here. So good luck with that, Minnesota fans, but not looking good for them to be scoring points. Getting into the Cleveland side, they're number 13 in pass protection, so slightly above average, but Minnesota number 1 in that defensive pass rush, generating pressure, getting sacks. Got a rookie quarterback coming in here. Would expect him to struggle against this Brian Flores defense. So that looks like a very juicy matchup as well. Hey, maybe if you're doing an island game matchup, you want both of these defenses because they're going to be putting up some points in this. But really looking juicy here for the Minnesota defense against a rookie quarterback. And then pass DVOA is about as big as you can get. Minnesota number 1, Cleveland 31st in offensive pass DVOA. Been really poor under Flacco. Now they got Dylan Gabriel, the rookie, in there. Can't imagine it gets worse than that, but certainly they got one more spot that they could go in the pass DVOA category. Really looking at this, Cleveland going to be under duress, going to need to get the ball out quicker. I'd expect, dump offs to the tight ends. Fannin probably gets more involved here. Their game plan is probably to get the ball out as quickly as possible. Rookie quarterback, understanding the defense coming in, that's probably going to be their path. And this 1 versus 31 would kind of go in combination with that, saying, hey, they're not going to be very explosive. It's going to be dink and dunk. So Fannin is probably a bigger beneficiary to that, and anybody that's running some underneath routes there in Cleveland. In terms of the run game, Minnesota 19 in stopping the run, so a little bit below average. Cleveland roughly the same at 18 in run blocking. And then Minnesota number 27 in run DVOA, Cleveland 27th in run DVOA. Very even up matchup. Typically in those scenarios, I say studs eat. Quinshon Judkins has certainly looked the part of a stud running back so far, so he might be able to, in these scenarios, not necessarily overcome that, but when we see elite people in these scenarios, they usually do very well in these games. So based off of this, pass game should be very poor. They're probably going to lean a little bit heavier on the run game anyway with the rookie quarterback in there. For Cleveland, it does look like they should be a little better than advertised in that run game, so I would expect them to actually be pretty successful there. Cleveland run game, any underneath, Fannin maybe, and then a couple of the defenses here. It really looks like it's going to be a low-scoring affair. I'm going to go ahead and maybe just give the purge siren. I think Cleveland may actually, the pass game looks like it's going to be really bad, but this run game, they might just be running it down Minnesota's throats and being successful there. Minnesota doesn't look like they're going to get much going on offense here. I just don't see them scoring a lot of points. Game total in general, I think 36.5 is probably a little high for what I see here. I think Cleveland might take this against Minnesota here, despite Minnesota being favored by 3.5. So I'd say Cleveland probably covers that in this matchup, if not wins outright. All right, now that we got the island game out of the way, we're going to go Detroit at Cincinnati as the number 1 ranked team, or the number 1 ranked game environment on the main slate out of 10 games. So they're sitting at 49.5 for their Vegas game total. Very nice here. They are 10.5 point road favorites heading into Cincinnati. That gives Detroit a 30-point team implied total. Cincinnati at 19.5. Not very good there. Detroit number 1 on the main slate. Cincinnati 18th on this main slate out of 20 teams. Offensive pass protection, Detroit number 3, Cincinnati 25. Huge favor here for Detroit. Would expect them to have plenty of time to throw. In terms of being explosive, Detroit number 6, Cincinnati 27. Very, very, very much in favor of Detroit here in this pass game with time to throw and being explosive. I do think this is one of those scenarios where Jameson Williams maybe has 4 targets. He catches 3 balls. It's over 100 yards. He has 2 touchdowns. I think that is well within his range of outcomes here for Cincinnati. Or against Cincinnati. So if you're playing any sort of DFS, I think he might be a pretty good option this week in terms of tournament plays. I think he could really, really thrive in this. And then run blocking, Detroit number 12, a little bit above average. Cincinnati dead last at 32nd. Would expect Detroit to be able to run the ball very effectively as well. Run DVOA number 5, Cincinnati 26. This just screams to me that Detroit should be dominating on offense. Run game should be very effective. Pass game should be very effective. Wouldn't be shocked to see them get into their bag of tricks. I know Ben Johnson is no longer there, but I bet they do a very good job getting up early in this and scoring often. One of those scenarios where, hey, last week I said David Montgomery, probably not a good game for him. David Montgomery, this is probably a very good game for him. I would expect him to also have a pretty solid game. Run game there should be very good with Jahmyr Gibbs and Montgomery, but Montgomery the cheaper option. I would put him in starting lineups if you have some start-sit decisions or flex decisions. I think Montgomery is a very good option this week. Cincinnati side 25th in pass protection. Detroit number 2 in that pass rush. I'd expect Mr. Browning to be under duress in this matchup. That's not good for him. That's going to lead to some interceptions, some sacks, and the like. Detroit 13 in pass DVOA, Cincinnati 29. Very bad situation here for Cincinnati. Not going to have a lot of time. They're going to need to get the ball out a little bit quicker. Could be a Chase Brown type week where you see him getting some more targets. Just watch out for that. But yeah, not looking good here for Cincinnati. If you want to bet the over on a Jake Browning interception, I think I would be doing that in this scenario. Run stopping, Detroit 16. Cincinnati's been dead last in the run categories, 32nd in both. So don't expect Chase Brown to be very successful here. Run DVOA for Detroit number 4. So really, really good defense here. Normally, I always put out the stat. There's like a 85 or 90%, something really crazy where the away team, if they're favored by 10 points or more, the home team actually covers like 85% of those matchups. In a scenario like this, Detroit, pretty good team. Cincinnati, not very good. What I see on paper, I feel pretty comfortable saying this is one of those where Detroit's probably going to cover this Vegas line, but you never know. The stats are what they are. When that home team is, the underdog by 10 or more points, they usually cover. Maybe we see like a 30-20 game, but just keep that in mind. It does look really good for Detroit's offense and not very good for Cincinnati's offense here. Cincinnati does play fast too, so that's even more likelihood that Jake Browning would throw an interception, so keep that in mind. All right, number 2 game on the slate here. Vegas heading into Indianapolis. Dome game, 48 Vegas game total. Indianapolis 7-point home favorites, giving them a 27.5 team implied total, which is second best on the main slate. Las Vegas at 20.5 is 14 out of 20 teams. Vegas, offensive pass protection 23, Indianapolis 20 in the pass rush. Pretty even up there. Standard day at the office here for Mr. Geno Smith. Pass DVOA, though, Vegas 27, Indianapolis 15. I think Indianapolis has a cornerback out. One of their starting cornerbacks is out, so that's a little bit of a favor here for Vegas. But on paper, despite probably having a decent amount of time to throw, standard day at the office for Geno Smith, the pass DVOA on here doesn't look that very good for them. So keep that in mind. Run blocking for Vegas is 30th. Run DVOA 25th, not great there. Indianapolis, though, kind of a little bit below average in the run defense. So number 20 in stopping the run, number 17 in run DVOA. Really on this, nothing to write home about, just like a below average game here for Vegas in terms of what they're looking like. Maybe they're a little bit better just because this Indianapolis defense kind of across the board, they're middle of the pack or a little bit below average. And Vegas has been pretty bad. So maybe Vegas sparks something here in this matchup. Looking a little better than they have this year, but overall just not a super good game environment. Jeanty might be able to overcome this a little bit. Geno maybe has some success there. We'll see, but really, kind of a subpar matchup for them. But the defense that they're playing is also kind of below average, so maybe they see a little success. Indianapolis side, number 2 in pass protection, Vegas 22nd in the pass rush. Indicative that they're not taking sacks. Vegas isn't getting sacks. Daniel Jones, in theory, should have time to throw in this and not be taking any sacks. Pass DVOA, Indianapolis number 1, Vegas number 21. This is indicative that this Indianapolis pass game should be very effective. Expect Daniel Jones to continue his hot start to the season in this. Would expect this pass game to really be thriving this week, especially when we look at the run game. Vegas has been okay in that department. 14 in stopping the run, 11 in run DVOA for them on defense. Indianapolis, number 10 in run blocking, number 12 in run DVOA. So one of those even matchups. If you got a stud running back, they can overcome that. Jonathan Taylor, I believe, is a stud, so he can overcome this pretty evenly matched offensive and defensive environment. But I would say it's probably going to be a little bit tougher sledding, perhaps, than he's been used to. But I think he's got the talent that he can overcome that, along with Indianapolis in their pass game being very effective. I'd expect Indianapolis to score quite a few points on their offensive drives that they have in this matchup with Vegas. Pretty good, the Vegas line here. I think Indianapolis probably covers this 7-point spread, but if Vegas comes out here and their offense looks a little bit better, I think they can maybe pull out that 7-point spread. All right, and we got 2 games tied for the third best on the slate. First one here, Dallas heading into New Jersey to face the Jets. It's a 47.5 Vegas game total that's tied for third again. 1.5 point Vegas line here for Dallas on the road, so that gives them a 24.5 team implied total with the Jets at 23. Really 2 bad defenses here, so let's get into it. Offensive pass protection for Dallas, number 7. Been pretty good at not taking sacks, and the Jets 20th in the pass rush. This is in favor of Dallas. I'd expect Dak to have some time to throw, which is always good for Pickens. Sounds like Kevontae Turpin might be out for this matchup, so really, if Dallas is passing it, it's going to be Ferguson and it's going to be Pickens. For the most part, you could see Tolbert with a few more targets as well, but really I would say main beneficiaries are going to see Ferguson. Pickens, when they got time to throw, I think you could see some deep shots to him and be pretty successful, but keep that in mind. In the pass DVOA, Dallas number 11, Jets 30th. I'd expect Dallas to be pretty effective when they do throw the ball, moving it, chunk plays at a time. Run blocking, Dallas number 3 and number 4 in the offensive run categories. Jets number 11 and number 6. So the Jets have been pretty decent against the run. Dallas probably finds it a little bit more difficult to run in this game with Javonte Williams, considering the pass game looks so good. I really do like Dallas's pass game here. Dak Prescott should be very good. I bet we see another big game from George Pickens. Wouldn't be shocked to see him with another multi-touchdown game and over 100 yards in this. Jets number 24 in pass protection. Dallas has been pretty bad at 30. Normally I say, hey, Jets, they take a lot of sacks, but this is a game environment where now it's even up. This defense that they're playing is actually pretty poor, so they probably will have a little bit more time to throw than they're used to, which is always good for them. And then pass DVOA, Dallas dead last at number 32. They've been really bad in that. Jets 21st. I expect the Jets pass game to be, or pass attack to be actually pretty effective in this. So Justin Fields and company probably pretty solid here. Maybe Mason Taylor, deep dart throw in any sort of DFS tournament could be on the table. In terms of run game, Dallas number 6 in stopping the run, Jets number 24 in run blocking. This is a red-green matchup in the favor of the defense. When these scenarios come up for this defensive run stopping and offensive run blocking, pretty much say, hey, that running back probably going to get hit at or behind the line of scrimmage frequently in this. And then the run DVOA, Dallas 22, Jets 17. That's pretty even, slightly in the favor of the Jets there. Nothing to write home about. I would just say expect Breece Hall and others to get hit at or behind the line of scrimmage pretty frequently in this. But in terms of getting out of there and getting some yards, they might be okay actually in that department. Probably more of a highly volatile type of run game. They're probably going to lean heavily on the pass game, which makes Justin Fields and Garrett Wilson a little bit more attractive, and maybe Mason Taylor, the rookie tight end there, we've been seeing come alive too. So pace of play, Jets really slow at 31, Dallas very fast at number 7. So with Dallas in this environment where they're passing the ball very effectively, I'd expect them to actually put up a decent amount of points against this Jets defense. Number 20 is 24.5 Vegas game total. I think they might be able to beat that in this matchup. Jets, do they keep pace? Probably not, based off of what I see here. Only thing that gives me a little pause is Dallas run game might struggle a little bit, and if they're trying to get like a 3rd and 2 or something and running it, or 3rd and 1, they might not make those in this particular environment. But overall, good environment for the pass attacks here. All right, and the other number 3 game total on the slate is Washington heading into Los Angeles to face the Chargers. Again, that 47.5 Vegas game total. We do have the Chargers as 3-point home favorites here against Washington. That gives the Chargers a 25.25 team implied total. 3rd best on the slate of 20 teams. Washington at 22.25 is 10th best. Offensive pass protection for Washington, number 28. They've been taking some sacks. Chargers actually number 5 in the pass rush, so they've been pretty successful in generating sacks. I'd expect this probably to continue against Washington. We do have a mobile quarterback now. Jaden Daniels should be back, but this could lead to some more scrambles for him, getting flushed out of the pocket. Pass DVOA 15 for Washington, so middle of the pack. Chargers, though, number 3 in the pass DVOA. I would expect Washington's pass game to struggle a little bit here. They're not going to have time to throw, and they shouldn't be very effective when passing the ball. Probably going to lead to, like I said, a lot more Jaden Daniels scrambles, even though he's got that knee issue. I'd expect him to probably have quite a few rush attempts in this matchup. I don't know what his line is at, but I wouldn't be shocked to see him with in between 7 to 10 rush attempts in a matchup like this, where maybe he has some designed ones and then he's getting flushed out of the pocket because no one's open and he's getting pressured. Run blocking side, Washington very good, number 7 and number 6 in running the ball. The Chargers number 8 in stopping the run, 16th in run DVOA. Really, a stud can overcome these. I don't think Washington's got that. They got a 3-headed monster back there in terms of their running backs. Doesn't look like a super good game for them, but really, if Washington's going to be moving the ball, it's going to be on the ground. That could include Jaden Daniels helping out there, so keep that in mind. Chargers side, number 18 in pass protection, Washington 14. Pretty standard day at the office there for Mr. Herbert. Pass DVOA, though, Washington's been pretty poor, 25. The Chargers, number 12. I think the Chargers' pass game can come alive in this against Washington's defense. Run game, Washington very good on defense. Number 3 in stopping the run, number 5 in run DVOA. Chargers 17th in run blocking, 13th in run DVOA. Doesn't look like a good matchup here for Amir Hampton, even though he does get quite a bit of volume. I'd expect the Chargers to move the ball via the air a little bit more than that, especially if Washington isn't putting up points, which it looks like they're going to struggle on offense a little bit here. I would expect the Chargers probably to be passing the ball and have some success there in that department, getting the ball over to the Chargers a little bit more frequently. Chargers do play pretty quick, number 4 in neutral situation. Washington, number 12 in neutral situation. And then overall, number 2, when they find themselves leading, they're actually number 10 in pace. So keep that in mind. Kind of a, middle of the pack to a little bit above average in pace there, which could lead to a few more points for some of these teams. All right, and then we got 2 games that are tied for 5th best on the slate at 44.5, so a 3-point jump down from the top 3 or 4 games there. Pretty big jump down here. Miami heading into Carolina at a 44.5 Vegas game total. We do have Miami as 1.5-point road favorites here, giving them a 23-point team implied total. 8th best on the main slate. Carolina at 21.5 for their team implied total is 12th best out of the 20 teams. Pass protection, Miami a little bit above average at 14. Carolina 32nd in pass rush. I expect Tua to have plenty of time to throw. It's probably going to be very good for Jalen Waddle this week. Really limited on their weapons as of right now. So Malik Washington and Waller are the other 2 options that I think could be in play here. Devon Achane, certainly capable of getting double-digit targets in any given week as well, so I'd expect a few more targets going his way with Tyreek Hill out now. In terms of pass DVOA, 22 and 22, pretty even here. Usually in these scenarios, we say studs eat. Is Jalen Waddle a stud? I don't think he's necessarily like on the Tyreek Hill prime, type of category, but he is pretty good in his own right, so he could be the one that ends up doing pretty well in the pass game here, based off of that. But really even up matchup here. Run blocking, Carolina been pretty poor, 29 in stopping the run. Miami almost top 10 at number 11. Expect a lot of positive yardage here for Devon Achane as he is running the ball. Run DVOA number 9 for Miami, 20th for Carolina. They should be pretty explosive running the ball as well. So Achane looking like he should be pretty good, especially if he's getting a few more targets. Not necessarily needing to get the ball out quick there in Miami, but if they got time to throw, you could see him getting downfield for some of these targets in this matchup. Carolina offensive side, they're number 8 in pass protection, so not taking a lot of sacks when you wouldn't expect it. Miami 19 in that pass rush. Carolina should have some time to throw, which is good for them, and probably Tet McMillan. In terms of pass DVOA, Dallas is the only team worse than Miami, so they're 31st in pass DVOA. Carolina 28th in pass DVOA on offense. All to say, hey, they're going to have some time to throw the ball. Studs eat in these scenarios. Is Tet McMillan a stud? I don't know. Their offense has been so poor, but certainly an environment where they should be a lot more effective throwing the ball this week than usual. So watch out for Bryce Young, a little bit sneaky there. Tet McMillan could have a solid week as well. And then the run game, Carolina 16th in run blocking, Miami 26th. Expect Carolina to gain positive yardage. We should have Rico Dowdle toting the rock most of the time with Hubbard out this week. Run DVOA 25th, Carolina 23rd. Even matchup here, studs eat. I don't think we got any studs there, but then Carolina in this environment should be a little bit more successful than they have been in the past. I'd expect Carolina to be able to put up some points against this Miami team, and the Miami team actually should be putting up lots of points. So this 44.5 Vegas game total, unless there's some sort of weird weather environment going on there in Carolina, I think this game total hits the over on this 44.5 pretty easily. Only thing to keep in mind, these teams do play slow, 24, Carolina 29, so that would be the only reason they wouldn't, but it does look like both offenses should be able to move the ball this week. All right, and the other fifth game total on the main slate here, Tampa Bay heading into Seattle, and we have a rematch of the 2018 NFL Draft. Number 1 pick Baker Mayfield taking on number 3 pick Sam Darnold. They were the top 2 quarterbacks taken in the 2018 NFL Draft, and now they face off against each other on a 44.5 Vegas game total here. Seattle 3.5 point home favorites over Tampa Bay. That gives them a 24-point team implied total, 6th best on the main slate. Out of those 20 teams, Tampa Bay at 20.5 is 14th. Tampa Bay offensive pass protection, number 12, Seattle 13. Standard day at the office here for Mr. Baker Mayfield. Pass DVOA, though, 13th in Tampa Bay, a little bit above average. Seattle, really good, number 2 in the pass DVOA there. Only the Vikings better. I would expect them to not be very explosive passing the ball. With Mike Evans out, looking like Godwin and Egbuka are going to have to carry the load there for their team, and perhaps Rachaad White as well. So I did hear a little nugget this week. Seattle actually giving up the most, I want to say, receiving yards and receptions to the running back, and with Bucky Irving out, Rachaad White could get a little bit more involved in this type of scenario here for Tampa Bay's pass attack. In terms of run blocking, Tampa Bay 14th, Seattle very good in stopping the run, number 5. I'd expect Rachaad White to be getting hit behind the line of scrimmage or at the line of scrimmage more frequently than you'd like if you're starting him in fantasy. And then run DVOA, pretty poor. Tampa Bay 29th in run DVOA, Seattle number 3. I would expect the run game to really struggle here in Tampa Bay. This pass game, kind of an even matchup to struggling a little bit. Tampa Bay kicker probably looking at 2 or 3 attempts in this matchup. So McLaughlin, if you want to place any prop bets on him hitting over 1.5 field goals, I think that's pretty safe there. If it's a 2.5 field goals, hopefully you get some decent odds on that. But Would expect them to probably be kicking some field goals in this if they're not probably scoring a lot of touchdowns or converting on a lot of third downs. On the Seattle side, number 9 in offensive pass protection, Tampa Bay number 14. Slight favor there for Seattle, but standard day in terms of time to throw. Pass DVOA, though, different story. Seattle is second best in the league. Tampa Bay number 19 on defense. Seattle should be pretty explosive here with a decent enough amount of time to throw. JSN probably the biggest beneficiary here, having a solid game. In terms of the run game, though, Tampa Bay number 1 across the board. Vita Vea probably dominating everything there, and why that is the number 1 scenario. Seattle number 27 in run blocking, number 19 in run DVOA. Expect a lot of Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker getting tackled behind the line of scrimmage and then not being very explosive in this game against Tampa Bay. Again, this is probably one of those scenarios where, hey, Seattle probably going to be more effective passing the ball, not very effective running. They might miss on a few converted third downs just because this run game is so poor. Hey, maybe they get behind the chains. It's, 2nd and 12, and then they pass the ball, they gain 8 yards. It's 3rd and 4, and, pass game can't move it from there. I think we could see actually a big field goal fest here from Tampa Bay and Seattle. Just keep that in mind. Both teams do play pretty quick. Tampa Bay number 2 in neutral situation. Seattle number 8. So keep that in mind. Really what's calling out to me, Rachaad White maybe getting a little bit more involved in the pass game. And then JSN for Seattle here. And then the kickers, I think, are the ones that end up scoring a lot of the offensive points in this matchup. All right, number 7 game on the main slate here out of 10. Denver heading into Philadelphia. Philadelphia 4-point home favorites on a 43.5 point Vegas game total. That gives Philly a 23.75 team implied total, 7th best on that main slate out of the 20 teams. Denver at 19.75 is 17th. Denver offensive pass protection number 1, Philadelphia pass rush number 25. Red-green matchup here. Wouldn't expect Denver to take a lot of sacks. I don't know if their offensive line is necessarily that good. They just get the ball out quick with Bo Nix, so that's really why that number 1 there is for Denver. It's been that way the last 2 seasons here with Bo Nix. He is mobile, so he doesn't take a lot of sacks either, but they do get the ball out a little bit quicker than people expect there in Denver. Pass DVOA number 16, though. Philadelphia number 11. Slight favor there of the defense. If you got any studs, they can overcome that, but really nothing to write home about here. Maybe a Cortland Sutton game, especially if Denver's got some time to throw because Philadelphia doesn't have a lot of sacks yet. Run blocking, though, looks pretty good. Denver, number 5. Philadelphia, 31st in run stopping. I would expect J.K. Dobbins and whoever is toting the rock to be pretty successful in gaining positive yardage each and every time that they tote the ball. Run DVOA, number 7 for Denver. Philadelphia, 21st. That's also in the favor of Denver. They should be pretty effective running. Pass game looks to be, decent amount of time and pretty standard in the DVOA. I'd expect Denver to be able to put up some points on this Philadelphia defense based off of what we're seeing on paper here. In terms of Philadelphia offense, number 20 in pass protection, Denver number 3 in the pass rush. I'd expect Jalen Hurts to be under pressure in this. Maybe taking a few sacks there. Does he make some mistakes throwing the ball? We'll see. Pass DVOA number 12 for Denver's defense, 18 for Philadelphia's offense. Not a lot of time to throw, slightly in the favor there of Denver's defense. I'd expect this Philadelphia pass game to struggle in this matchup. They've been struggling all year. The offensive coordinator there is very stale, very static. That offense is just not fun to watch. Lots to be desired there for the Philadelphia offense. And looking like it was probably going to continue against this Denver defense. The run game, Denver number 18 in stopping the run, Philly 31st in run blocking. So I expect Barkley to get hit behind the line of scrimmage pretty frequently in this matchup. Run DVOA, Denver number 12, Philadelphia number 10. Pretty even up here. Studs eat in those scenarios. So Barkley probably going to have a highly volatile game, getting hit behind the line of scrimmage frequently, but maybe able to bust off a few decent runs. Denver number 15 in pace of play. Philly number 31st in pace of play. doesn't look particularly great for Philadelphia. Run game is really something that looks like it's going to have to be carried, but this Vegas line of 4 for Philadelphia at home, based off of what I'm seeing on paper, be aware, Denver may pull this one out. I think they can go into Philadelphia, hang with them, and perhaps steal one away from Philadelphia here in Philly. Number 8 game total on the main slate here. New York Giants heading into New Orleans at a 42-point Vegas game total. New Orleans 2-point home favorites. Pretty easy math there. New Orleans at 22 for their team implied total. 11th best on the main slate. Giants at 20th is the 16th best on the main slate. Giants offense, number 26 in pass protection. Saints number 5 in pass rush. I'd expect Jackson Dart to be under pressure in this matchup. Now, he is pretty mobile, so he could escape some of that pressure, but it's probably going to lead to some sacks. He did take 5 last week. Keep that in mind, and then could lead to some interceptions as well as if he's throwing it under pressure. Pass DVOA, Giants number 26. The Saints have been really bad at 29. On paper, this looks like a pretty even matchup. Your studs eat. Unfortunately for the Giants, they lost Malik Neighbors. This looks like a situation where he could have been used underneath pretty effectively, but not looking good for that Giants pass game this week. Run blocking, pretty even though. Giants 25th in run blocking, not very good. Saints 22nd in stopping the run, pretty even there. Run DVOA, Giants 22nd, New Orleans 19. So both of those slightly in the favor of the defense, but pretty even there. Cam Scattaboo probably going to be the one that's actually moving this offense if they do move at all. It's probably going to move through him. On the Saints side, number 17 in pass protection, Giants 14. Standard day there for Mr. Rattler. Saints number 25 in offensive pass DVOA, Giants 17th. Slight favor there for the defense. Nothing really crazy there. Expect the same thing that we've been seeing in New Orleans to continue this week. Run blocking, though, Saints number 19, Giants 27th in stopping the run. Should see some successful forward progress on the run game this week. Saints 18 in run DVOA, Giants dead last at 32nd. I expect the run game here for New Orleans to be very effective. Seeing Kendre Miller getting a little bit more involved, but him and Alvin Kamara probably going to do pretty well in this matchup this week. As you know, the Saints maybe struggle a little bit more passing it. I think this run game is going to be very effective, and we'll see quite a few rush attempts here from the Saints. Really looking like a gross game. The Saints do play very, very fast. They're number 1 in overall, number 1 in neutral situation, and then number 1 when the game is at least within 7 points throughout the entire matchup. So they do play quick. I think they're going to have a lot of rush attempts in this matchup. Probably pulling out the victory against the Giants here. I think the Saints defense is going to be very interesting here against the Giants. They could surprise some people in some tournaments here. All right, second to the last one on the main slate. Tennessee heading into Arizona on a 41.5 Vegas game total. Arizona 7.5 point home favorites, giving them a 24.5 team implied total. 4th best on the main slate. Tennessee at 17 is the worst on the main slate, 20th. Really, really bad offense here. Tennessee 30th in pass protection, taking a lot of sacks. Arizona 22nd in pass rush, so they're not generating a lot, but I believe they're probably going to get home here at a home game against this Tennessee offense. I would expect them to get several sacks, despite what it says on paper here. Pass DVOA, Tennessee number 32, Arizona 20, also in the favor of the defense. Really in these situations, say, hey, Tennessee might be a little bit more successful than they're used to. This team is a little bit below average in the pass attack. Just keep that in mind. Run blocking wise, not looking good. Tennessee 22nd, Arizona 7th in stopping the run. Expect a lot of at the line of scrimmage or behind the line of scrimmage rush attempts here. May have Tajay Spears back in the mix, but not a good game for him to come back to. Run DVOA, even worse. Tennessee 28th, Arizona still 7th. Don't expect Tennessee to be very effective here. If they are, it's going to be through the air, and they're going to be a little bit more successful than they're used to, but really not looking good for them. Arizona side, red across the board on offense. Fortunately for them, Tennessee is red across the board on defense. So Arizona 28th in pass protection, Tennessee 29th in pass rush. Kyler probably going to have a little bit more time to throw than he's used to. Pass DVOA 23rd for Arizona, Tennessee 26th in the pass rush. I expect Arizona. It's a pretty even matchup here. Stud could eat. Is Marvin Harrison a stud? I don't know. It really hasn't been showing that, but this was a game where he really could showcase his talents. Keep that in mind. Run game for Tennessee, 24th, stopping the run. Arizona been pretty bad at 29. They're down to Michael Carter and Emery DeMarcado, basically, so pick your poison there, but it does look like they should be somewhat successful. Arizona probably a little bit more successful than they have been on offense in this matchup against Tennessee, and I would expect their defense to be able to give them some opportunities to keep the ball on offense here. Both teams, 14th and 20th in neutral situation, nothing crazy there, but both defenses... both offenses pretty poor, but fortunately for them, some of the defensive environments are pretty poor. I just don't think Tennessee run game is going to be any good. Probably avoiding this game altogether in DFS, and not super interested, but Kyler and Marvin Harrison Jr. could surprise in this. Could see Arizona, Michael Carter, Emery DeMarcado have an okay game against the defense this bad. All right, and the big one in Vegas that's been shifting all week with the news of Lamar Jackson not being available this week. Worst game on the main slate. Houston heading into Baltimore. It's a 40.5 Vegas game total. Houston, actually 1.5 point road favorites heading into Baltimore. Who would have thunk that coming into the season? But that gives them a 21-point team implied total, 13th best out of the 20 teams. Baltimore 19.5, 18th best out of the 20 teams. Houston 22nd in offensive pass protection. Baltimore 30th in the pass rush. Should have a little bit more time than they're used to throw the ball there in Houston. That's always going to be good for the pass game. Would expect Nico Collins to be very good here, just with the time to throw. And then the pass DVOA is being dead even at 24. Those are the scenarios where the studs eat. Nico Collins is that. I think he has a pretty good game here against Baltimore. Baltimore is out like 3 or 4 All-Pro or Pro Bowl defenders this week too, so that's just adding to this red across the board for Baltimore's defense, which you don't usually see. Run blocking for Houston 20th, Baltimore 25th. Run blocking or run DVOA for Houston is 21st, Baltimore 29th. Again, both of those slightly in the favor of Houston's offense. We did see Woody Marks take over last week. Does that continue this week? Probably. We've seen him steadily increase his work each and every week, and now it seems like he's taken over the backfield in a scenario where, hey, they're projected to win this matchup. We could see heavy usage from Woody Marks in this. Probably going to be popular in DFS, and this is a game environment 40.5 where you probably don't want to get too involved in that, but just keep that in mind. He probably will have a solid matchup. Houston, pass rush number 10, Baltimore 31st in pass protection, and now we have Cooper Rush back there. Probably not a good mix here, so I expect Houston's defense to be able to put some pressure on Cooper Rush. Pass DVOA, Houston number 9, Baltimore number 7, but again, that's with Lamar and not Cooper Rush. Take that matchup with a grain of salt, but one of those where, hey, studs eat. I don't think they necessarily have any of those on offense in their wide receiver room anymore. Zay Flowers the best of the bunch, but then, they still got Bateman, who's always just been solid, and then whatever is left of DeAndre Hopkins still running some routes out there. The run game, Baltimore 28, not very good, but Houston 28 in stopping the run. So, hey, this could be good for Derrick Henry. A little bit better than what he's been used to so far this season. Defensive run DVOA, Houston number 23, Baltimore 16. Again, this is more telling me we should see Derrick Henry get involved here. It's a home game. If it's close, we probably see him with 20 to 25 minimum rush attempts in a matchup like this where they're not, trying to protect themselves against Cooper Rush making some mistakes. Both teams play pretty slow. Wouldn't expect a lot of points in a matchup like this, but Houston could, against this Baltimore defense, do pretty well. I think this 40.5 Vegas game total is probably pretty accurate. I do think Houston wins this as well, but from Baltimore, it's not looking good for anybody besides Henry. And then Houston, Woody Marks and Nico Collins and company should be pretty good this year, or this week, excuse me. All right, now that we got the main slate out of the way, Sunday Night Football Island game, 49 Vegas game total. Those are ones where, hey, that's a high enough total where we're probably getting all offensive players into our lineups. The Vegas line is an 8-point road favorite or home favorite here. Did I update this right? New England favored by 8. Give me a sec. All right, I just put in the games backwards. We had New England as a home team and Buffalo as the away team. Everything else was accurate. So here we go, changing that up. New England, 8-point road favorites heading into Buffalo on that 49.5 Vegas game total. So Buffalo, 28.5 points. Very, very healthy there. New England at 20.5. Getting into the New England side, 26 in pass protection. So taking some sacks. Buffalo, number 10 in pass rush. I'd expect them to be able to generate some pressure here in New England, needing to get the ball out a little bit quicker for them. So expect some passes to Hunter Henry, the tight ends, and the running backs a little bit more often in this game. It's probably going to be a Pop Douglas game as well. Pass DVOA, New England's been very good. Number 8, Buffalo number 10. So maybe a little bit less successful than New England has been in the past game this week against this Buffalo defense. The run blocking, though, number 9 for New England, Buffalo 17. I'd expect plenty of forward or positive rush attempts in this matchup. Run DVOA, 24th for New England, Buffalo 30th. The run game should be where New England focuses and does pretty well in this environment. Pass game, I think, is going to be a little bit more of a struggle than it has been so far this year against Buffalo. On the Buffalo side, offensive pass protection number 19, New England 17, even matchup, standard day at the office for Josh Allen. Pass DVOA, though, way flipped. New England 28th, really bad. Buffalo number 3, very good. Expect Buffalo's offense to be very explosive in the pass game here. Good for them, but they basically spread the ball around, so good luck trying to figure out who to pick from there in your island games. And then run defense for New England, green in both categories, 4th in stopping the run, 8th in run DVOA. Buffalo 2nd in run blocking, 1st in run DVOA. So Buffalo have been very good in the run department. They might find it a little bit tougher sledding in this matchup. I know James Cook has been lights out. This game environment is telling me, hey, he might not be the captain that you want in your slot. I think Buffalo probably looking more like this is a pass attack type week where they're really successful there. Josh Allen going to be spreading that ball around a bunch. And then the run game, while not necessarily in a bad situation, it's going to be worse than what they've been experiencing so far this season. So really interesting here. I think Buffalo, pass game looks very good. New England pass game not as good, but their run game should be a little bit better. Don't really hate what Vegas has on here. The Vegas game total feels a little high based off of what I'm seeing here, especially with the slower pace. Buffalo 30th, New England 21st. That would really be my only take home for any prop bets is less than 49 points here. And finally, Monday night here, Kansas City heading into Jacksonville. And yes, that is what the matchup is. So we have a Vegas line of 3.5 for Kansas City being the road favorites on a 45.5 Vegas game total here. That gives Kansas City a 24.5 team implied total and Jacksonville a 21-point team implied total. Kansas City 11th in pass protection, Jacksonville 25th in the pass rush. I'd expect Patrick Mahomes to have plenty of time to throw, which is good for them. But the pass DVOA number 10, Jacksonville number 5 in pass DVOA. While there will be time to throw, it doesn't look like they're going to be super explosive against Jacksonville. So it's probably going to lead to some more underneath stuff. Keep in mind, though, Kansas City's pass attack has come without Xavier Worthy or Rashee Rice a bunch. But based off of what I see on paper here, I would say, hey, Kelsey and Juju Smith-Schuster probably getting more involved in this. Maybe not necessarily as good for Worthy in these explosive plays, but they got a lot of time to throw. You could see Thornton and Worthy get downfield in a matchup like this and be successful. That's always a chance. Run blocking wise, Kansas City number 8, Jacksonville 15. Nothing too crazy there. Kansas City should gain positive yardage. Run DVOA, though, number 20, Jacksonville number 10. Suggestive that Kansas City won't be that explosive in the run game, just getting some positive yardage. Overall, plenty of time to throw, but behind the sticks in the DVOA department, suggestive that Kansas City, if they're going to move the ball, it's going to be more slow and methodical to get down the field. Jacksonville pass protection number 4, not taking a lot of sacks. Kansas City 12th in the pass rush. So, slightly in favor here of Jacksonville not taking sacks. They could have some time to throw. Pass DVOA, though, not very good. Kansas City 8th on the pass DVOA on defense. Jacksonville 20th. Jacksonville shouldn't be very explosive in this pass game, and we've seen that so far this year. They've been struggling. Brian Thomas Jr. not really getting going. Travis Hunter, who they drafted number 2 overall, hasn't been doing much. So looks like more of the same here from Jacksonville in this game. But the run blocking looks very good for them. Number 4 in run blocking, Kansas City 21. Tells me that Travis Etienne and maybe Bishal Tutin, if he gets some work, will be gaining positive yardage when they get the ball. Then they should be very explosive. Number 2 in run DVOA here for Jacksonville, Kansas City 24. Kind of an interesting one there. Jacksonville run game looks like the best of all of these environments. So if you're playing an island game matchup, this 45.5 game total, that's right where I start saying maybe you want a kicker or a defense involved, depending on what you're seeing. Kansas City side, with them being behind the sticks a little bit in the DVOA, we could see Harrison Butker get quite a few kick attempts here. Jacksonville, though, it looks like Etienne is probably the guy that you're going to want in this matchup in most of your lineups. He does look like he's going to have the best matchup out of anybody in this game. So interesting one here. I'm not necessarily sure how you want to attack it, but Kansas City side, I'd probably be getting Patrick Mahomes. Jacksonville side, Etienne, and then pairing up your pass catchers there in Kansas City. Do you want Juju Smith-Schuster? He's probably not going to be highly rostered. Him and Worthy, or Thornton, if you think he's going to catch a deep ball with the time to throw, could be a path to success in your island game matchups. Anyway, folks, that's going to do it. That's every single matchup here. We do have 4 teams on bye this week, so a little bit quicker of a show this week. So thanks everybody for watching it. If you made it through the entire show, that's fantastic. From what I can tell, nobody is doing that. They're just going through and looking at each individual game and looking at that stuff. But good luck to everybody out there. We give you this info so you can make a little bit more informed decisions out there for your DFS lineups, for your prop bets, things like that. I want you to go out there and we'll win some money together. Have a good one, folks. Good luck on week 5. Bye.